Greetings, this is the Getto Free Press and I'm George Boston Rhines. You've heard about the Quitman 10+2. But often we forget the one that are now deceased. Latashia Head. Latashia Diane Head, I may add. And I just spent a few days in the Brooks County Courthouse with the third trial of Lula Smart. And do you not know, the state of Georgia News Media Networks does not consider that case to be newsworthy enough for the radio, televisions, and newspapers to report on what is happening in that case. The state of Georgia have lost, apparently, the original, let me repeat, lost the original documents of some of the information that should have been preserved by the courts. It's just a sad day. And so it reminded me of the footage that I did at the funeral of Latashia Diane Head, one of the original Quitman 10+2. She's now deceased. And I talked to her father. She had lupus. We only know whether the stress that these charges of alleged voter fraud against these outstanding citizens and educators was just in retaliation for an election that were won by black African Americans. That's not why I'm sitting here tonight. I was very outdone by the state of Georgia bringing Lula Smart up again for the third time to face a court and a jury. But I'm going to reflect and flash a little bit back in memory of one of the Quitman 10+2 who are no longer with us. And let us do that at this time. Let it rain. Latashia Head, one of the Quitman 10+2, and a real.
This is KBCI.blogspot.com. George Boston Rhines over in Quitman, Georgia.
The Getto Free Press was there.
Funeral of Latashia Head, one of the Quitman 10, then the Quitman 12, and now the Quitman 11. We are on the south side. This is the remains coming down the church, the steps at Bethel Church in Quitman, Georgia. It is indeed a sad day for the people of Brooks County and other people around the state of Georgia They had people far away as Atlanta and farther to give words of bereavement to the Quitman 10 and to the family of Latashia Head. It is indeed a sad day, but we know that God knows what is best in times like these. Once again, this is Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church, and as you know, she had an ailment. So everybody who thinks there was no foul play in this is just an act of God, and God knows best. God knows how much we can take, and so that's the way it is.
And yet, after 4 years, the remaining 11 still have not had any resolve to their cases here in the state of Georgia. And Lula Smart have had now in her third trial. The first one's a mistrial, second a mistrial, and the third one only God knows. And yet those who brought these charges up against these 11 outstanding citizens, what they did, in our opinion, is a disgrace. It is a disgrace. It is a disgrace. Let us continue. This is Latashia Diane Head, one of the 10 plus 2, one who died with lupus. We don't know the stress that the state of Georgia, the district attorney, assistant district attorney, the governor of the state of Georgia, and the secretary of state, and the G.B.R, we don't know how much stress they put upon this young lady. We don't know how much stress is still being placed upon these black citizens. After nearly 4 years, it is 4 years, and many of our civil rights organizations and women organizations and political party affiliations will not even ask, won't even Google to find out what the real deal is. Listen, and we'll close this out.
Once again, this is Quitman, Georgia. Bye-bye. We're coming. This is KBCI.blogspot.com. This is the motorcade, the final homegoing Latashia Head, one of the Quitman 10. Then the Quitman 12, and now the Quitman 11. This is in Quitman, Georgia. I'm sure it's been a long struggle for all of the Quitman 10 and their relatives and citizens of Brooks County just not knowing what's going on and why they have to go through all of this. But I make no excuses. I personally believe that God is the best knower in a situation like this. And as a child, I was always faith with the words from my grandmother that God would not put no more on us than we could bear, and that we only pilgrims passing through this life of tears. And oftentimes we who struggle in the circles of civil rights and human rights, beyond skin color, beyond ethnicity, we find ourselves with questions and trying to understand why it seems like those who struggle for others are often plucked from this arena of life. When too often those who just sit on the sidelines and never become actively involved often outlive those who follow the line and lineage of Jesus, Martin Luther King, John Brown, and others who traveled that great land of Holy Land, who
try to stand up on behalf of others, even in the midst of being condemned. And so I came over today simply because of the fact that I have always been touched by the Quitman 10 and now the Quitman 12 and now the Quitman 11, because it was bold enough, courageous enough to take a stand to bring about a better educational system here in Quitman in Bruce County, the state of Georgia, in America. Being a native of Quitman in Bruce County, I graduated from Washington Street High School in 1970. We were the last class that was all black to graduate from Washington Street High School. And as you can see, we just passed the post office, and John Boone, the one that started all this about the absentee ballots, and come to find out he was violating postal service laws. Listen, Lula Smart trial was the last few days. Latashia had never had a day. God called her home. After 4 years, the Quitman 10 case is still pending. It is as if though they don't believe that these people are entitled to a speedy trial from among their peers. It's a sad day in Georgia. Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you for blessing today's services with your presence. To all of the ministers that were present, our prayer for each of you is just the same, that your spiritual goal.
We must ask the state of Georgia, when will they stop this charade here in the land of the free and the home of the brave? A sad day, y'all. A sad day. Willie Banks and the Messengers.
People are robbing, and they are stealing and killing every day.
Quitman 10 plus 2.
Taking things that don't belong to them, and they're going on their simple way. They're doing it now. They're doing it now. Oh, just like they've already done in the past. I wanna know Kennedy brother, and they also killed Dr. Martin Luther King too. Oh, we try and stand up for what's right today. I'm a witness, they will shoot us down too. The reason I know is because they're doing it now. about it, it brings tears to my eyes. When I bow down on my knees and I asked him, please tell me. I'm wondering how long. The reason I want to know is because, listen, they're doing it now. They're doing it now. Just like the boy done it now.
Well. Quitman 10 plus 2. This is the Quitman 10 song. Let's listen to that. Acapella, by the way. And so it was. And the outcry was great. And the people are great. And it is shameful what has happened to the Quitman 10+2. And 4 years, they still haven't gone to trial. And more is coming out now that it's more like a charade. Somebody will eventually have to give an account of what they have done to the Quitman 10+2. This is the Getto Free Press, and I'm George Boston Rhymes. Just keeping it real. Because as you know, the news media don't consider our news as their news. Good evening, and bye-bye, we're gone. Once again, this is the Getto Free Press, and I'm George Boston Rhymes. And what's your name once again, my beautiful brother?
George, my name is Kevin Moran.
All right. And you're with the People's Agenda.
I'm with the Coalition of the People's Agenda, convened by Dr. Joseph E. Lowry.
All right. I want to ask you a few questions. Number one, I've been here. I missed Monday because I was up there with the newly elected black Mayor Ann Whipperloo, who's being mistreated, and I believe it all interrelated together.
Yes.
But I got here Tuesday, and I didn't see any news media here Tuesday. I didn't see any Wednesday. I didn't see any Thursday, and I didn't see any today. I didn't even see any of the news reporters. I haven't seen anything in the Valdosta Daily Times, a metropolitan city. I only saw a little snippet in the Quitman Free Press yesterday when I got that in my mailbox because I subscribed to the paper. But the question is, how do you think that the news media like CNN, MSNBC, even with Al Sharpton, can ignore or omit what is happening here in Brooks County, where we had hundreds of people to march here because this is a very, very high-profile case. Why do you think that the news media are not concerned about voting rights down here in South Georgia? Apparently because they're not here.
The mass media that you refer to is totally owned and operated by the white aristocracy in Georgia. And it is an inconvenient truth that the Quitman 10+12 have been salaciously charged.
10+2.
10+2 with charges for crimes they did not commit, and it was proven today in court.
Okay. Another thing I want to ask you is that if you had not spoken out a little bit about what happened here today, I say that this information that took place in the courtroom outside of the transcript, which will be a matter of record for all eternity, I guess, but without that, the local citizens here in Quitman and Brooks County and all around South Georgia, they wouldn't know anything about it, because when the newspapers are written, which I call the archival record, when they read that in 30, 40 years in the schools require these students to do turn papers on the events of yesterday, they won't be able to retrieve that from the newspaper because it wasn't there.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
I think that's why it is essential that this word get out. I've been fortunate 4 years ago, when you mentioned hundreds of us gathered here on the steps, to be traveling with an international representative of the Mennonite Church, who I contacted last night that this trial is still going on. He has learned the truth, and he is ashamed that the United States judicial system here in Quitman, Georgia, is lynching these 10+2 for acts they never committed, and by the media intentionally. I really believe it is intentionally not being here.
Yes, sir.
It is an inconvenient truth what has been done here. For 4 years, these women and one man have been subjected to daily harangues, allegations by the G.B.R, put in jail because they won an election They won an election to office that had previously been held by white males. And for the first time, we had African Americans of impeccable character and wonderful qualifications as educators elected to the school board. They've been elected 2 times since by the same plurality. This was not a fluke. This was not a manipulated election. This, unfortunately, for some, is the South of the future. Georgia will become a majority state of colored people. Our brothers and sisters in Christ will be represented. This is a democracy in the United States. We have fought for it. We are entitled to our rights of equality under the law. We haven't seen that here, and the media doesn't want to be telling that story because governors, heads of the G.B.R, secretaries of state will be criticizing them and exerting again power upon them. We're playing with some players that have great power and great audacity to use it. We need to stand up to them. We need to tell the truth. The truth needs to be told. And George, you are telling the truth. You are the only member of the press here today. And it's a privilege to have you here and documenting the truth.
I thank you very much, and I'm not going to, because of the flavor of my nature and what I call the nature of my flavor. I am not going to allow you to stand there by yourself. I'm going to come and shake your hand because no man in this struggle should have to stand alone. So wherever you go, I'm with you. And I'll declare before God and man that right does not have a skin color. I love you, my beautiful brother.
I love you.
And I love the flavor of your nature.
The president of SCLC, Reverend Dr. Stewart, will be here on Tuesday. I spoke with the president of the Georgia NAACP this afternoon. Francis Johnson is sending out a notification to all NAACP members to be here also.
That is power. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. God bless you, my dear. Thank you so much. Once again, this is the Getto Free Press. I'm George Foster Rhymes, and I do what I do because I served this nation for 21 years. This is my hometown. My grandmother told me the history of this place, Brooks County. And I love Brooks County. But I love justice and equality for all men, women, and their children, regardless of whether they're Germans, Russians, Jews, or Palestinians. We are all in this struggle together, trying to build a better world. And if our forebears yesterday gave their life for us to get where we are today, then some more of us may have to sacrifice and go to an invisible cross. But in the end, I will assure you that truth, right, and justice will win in the end.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.